Is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's
Good morning. Nicole expected to intensify and become a hurricane today as tropical storm conditions begin to be felt across the northwest Bahamas. We've got the very latest. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, to be joining us. Also, this morning, we are going to once again go to Egypt and talk to some youth delegates at the COP27 conference going on there right now. And later in Morning Blend Business, what happened to FTX? We're going to get some opinions on that and get you up to speed on what went down this week. It's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, tropical storm conditions beginning to spread across the northwest Bahamas and even portions of the east coast of Florida as Nicole makes its approach to Abaco. Weather conditions continue to deteriorate and life-threatening sea conditions likely across the northwest Bahamas. The hurricane warning remains in effect for Grand Bahama, Bimini, the Berry Islands, and of course Abaco. And tropical storm warnings in effect for Eleuthera, New Providence, and Andros. As of 4 o'clock this morning, the center of Tropical Storm Nicole, located near latitude 26.6 degrees north and longitude 75.74 degrees west, that puts it just 75 miles east of Hopetown, Abaco, 130 miles east of East End, Grand Bahama, 125 miles northeast of Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera, and 145 miles northeast of New Providence, or about 175 miles northeast of Nicholstown, Andros. Nicole is moving toward the west-southwest now, near 13 miles per hour, and a turn toward the west is expected today, followed by a turn toward the northwest by tomorrow, and north or north-northeast on Friday. On the forecast track, the center of Nicole will approach the northwest Bahamas this morning and move over the northwestern islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama by midday. Nicole is expected to move across Florida tonight. Maximum sustained winds are near 70 miles per hour with higher gusts, and some strengthening is expected today. Nicole is forecast to become a hurricane near the northwest Bahamas and remain a hurricane when it reaches the east coast of Florida tonight. Now, Nicole is a large tropical storm, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 460 miles, especially to the north of the center. A sustained gust of 36 miles per hour and a gust of 51 miles per hour were reported on Great Abaco Island during the past couple hours. And a sustained wind speed of 41 miles per hour recently reported at Dania Pier in southeastern Florida. So storm surge could raise water levels by as much as 4 to 6 feet above normal tide levels along the immediate coast of the northwest Bahamas, and large swells generated by Nicole will affect the northwestern islands for the next few days. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. Nicole is expected to produce rainfall amounts of about 3 to 5 inches, with localized higher amounts up to 8 inches across the northwest Bahamas today through Friday. And the formation of waterspouts and tornadoes quite possible during the passage of Nicole through the country. Boaters are advised to remain in port and move vessels to safe harbor. Residents, especially in Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands, should be prepared for hurricane conditions this morning. And interest in the rest of the Northwest Bahamas and the Central Bahamas should monitor the progress of Nicole. Dorian survivors are preparing for Nicole. You can read what they're going through in today's Nassau Guardian, and there's full coverage of the storm in today's Nassau Guardian. Pick up a copy today. Meanwhile, Works Minister Alfred Sayers says BPL is not expecting power failures on islands affected by the tropical storm. Islands in the northwest Bahamas, particularly Abaco and Grand Bahama, have already begun feeling the effects of the storm with BPL, saying they're going to keep the power on as much as they can, as long as they can. In Abaco, of course, BPL does not provide power for Grand Bahama. In other news, speaking about the collapse of the deal he announced in May for the government to sell Grand Lucayan Resort to Electra America Hospitality Limited for $100 million, acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper said the art of making a deal is knowing when to move on. He indicated the government will not name another buyer for the Freeport property until it actually has a final agreement. Cooper said Electra consistently asked for more time, but he said, quote, "We cannot continue to delay the deal, to delay. There is credible interest from potential buyers for the resort. We began those conversations." Lucayan Renewal Holdings Limited, the special purpose vehicle established to sell the property, announced the collapse of the deal in a statement Monday night. That statement coming 6 months after the government announced it had selected Electra as the purchaser and that the developer had committed to a $300 million redevelopment of the property. And as Tropical Storm Nicole set its sights on Abaco and Grand Bahama, Prime Minister Philip Davis urging world leaders at COP27 in Egypt to get real about climate change and take action or risk millions more people, including Bahamians, becoming climate refugees. Speaking in Sharm el-Sheikh yesterday, the Prime Minister said, quote, "Some Bahamians have asked, why have we come here? I say that we've come here because we have to believe that a safer, better future is possible. I say that we've come here because we believe that action, real, concerted action, can save the planet and save our human race." Overseas, North Korea fired a short-range ballistic missile toward its eastern sea today, extending a recent barrage of weapons demonstrations, including what it described as simulated attacks on South Korean and U.S. targets last week. Seoul's Joint Chief of Staff said the missile was launched from a western town north of the capital of Pyongyang, and that it flew across the country toward waters off the North's eastern coast. The South Korean and Japanese militaries assessed that the missile flew about 250 to 290 kilometers, or about 155 miles, at a maximum altitude of about 18 to 30 miles. The relatively low trajectory seemed to align with the flight characteristics of some of North Korea's newer short-range weapons designed to evade missile defenses. And a surge in COVID-19 cases has spurred lockdowns in southern Chinese manufacturing hub of Jiangsu, adding to financial pressure that has disrupted global supply chains and sharply slowed growth in the world's second-largest economy. Residents in districts encompassing about 5 million people have been ordered to stay home at least through Sunday, with one member of each family allowed out once per day to purchase necessities. The order coming after the densely populated city of about 13 million reported more than 2,500 new cases over the previous 24 hours. Public transport has been suspended and classes halted across much of Jiangsu, while flights to Beijing and other major cities have been canceled, according to state media. China has retained its strict zero-COVID policy despite relatively low case numbers and no new deaths. In sports, the University of the Bahamas Mingo's men's soccer team put its undefeated season on the line in the Bahamas Football Association League over the weekend against United FC. This was the third time UB had risked the streak snap, and this week it happened. The Mingos lost to United FC 4-1 and dropped to second place overall with 15 points overall. The Western Warriors are in the top spot with 16 points and a 4-0-1 win-draw-loss record. The Mingo's normal productive offensive campaign just was not there on Sunday. Read all about it in today's Guardian Sports section. The road to March Madness began this week, and several Bahamians were in action on the court in the NCAA Division I basketball slate. Forward Sammy Hunter Jr. and guard Garvin Clark in action for the University of Akron Zips, who came away with an 81-80 win over the South Dakota State University Jackrabbits. You can read all about the others in today's Guardian Sports section. And overseas, American basketball star Brittany Griner has been sent to a penal colony in Russia to serve her sentence for drug possession. A Russian court rejected an appeal of her 9-year sentence last month. The 8-time All-Star center with the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury and a 2-time Olympic gold medalist convicted August 4th after police say they found vape canisters containing cannabis oil in her luggage at Moscow's airport. Her arrest coming at a time of heightened tensions between Moscow and Washington, just days before Russia sent troops into Ukraine. And the politically charged case could lead to a high-stakes prisoner exchange between Washington and Moscow. Griner's legal team said she left a detention center on November 4th for the penal colony, a common type of Russian prison where detainees work for minimal pay. Her lawyer is saying today that they did not know exactly where she was or where she would end up, but that they expected to be notified when she reached her final destination. Such transfers can take days. That's sports, and that's the overnight time for your first look at weather. In your weather, as we've said, Tropical Storm Nicole expected to strengthen into a hurricane at some point today as it is making its way across the northwest Bahamas. Hurricane warnings remain in effect for Grand Bahama, the Abacos, Bimini, and the Berry Islands, while the tropical storm warning remains in effect for Eleuthera, New Providence, and Andros, as Tropical Storm Nicole continues to move closer to the northwest Bahamas. Hazardous boating and beaching conditions will continue to affect the islands today and continue through Thursday as the system moves near or over the northwest Bahamas during that period. Boating and swimming not advised due to very rough seas and dangerous rip currents. Your forecast for the northwest Bahamas today, mostly cloudy with tropical storm force to hurricane force winds, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms from the outer bands of Nicole. Conditions will continue to deteriorate today and into tonight. Some showers will be heavy and thunderstorms, strong to severe at times. Boaters again should remain in port. Winds northwest to north and shifting west to northwest at 30 to 40 knots and increasing to hurricane force strength across the extreme northwestern islands of Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands. And northwest to north and shifting to southwest to west this afternoon at 25 to 35 knots with gusts to tropical storm force across New Providence, Andros, and Eleuthera. Seas 10 to 15 feet, but up to 20 feet along Atlantic exposed shorelines. For the central and southeast Bahamas today, variably cloudy to cloudy and breezy with scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Again, small craft should remain in port. Wind southwest to west at 20 to 25 knots in the central islands, 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas with higher gusts in all areas. Seas 6 to 9 feet in the central Bahamas, but 4 to 7 feet in the southeast Bahamas. Seas will be higher along Atlantic-exposed shorelines and moderate northeasterly swells. Temperatures today getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 71 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and more on Tropical Storm Nicole coming up in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
You're listening to Morning Blend. We've got a lot more coming up after the break. Stay with us here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carb body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Glad to be here. I got to say good morning to some friends listening in Trinidad. Mark, if he's still listening, I don't know if he is. They're concerned about Nicole.
Okay, well, that's beautiful.
They've been texting me all morning.
Oh, that's wonderful. And they're listening in. Hello, friends in Trinidad.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to get the latest on Nicole. We're going to go to the Met Office in a bit to get the very latest on what they're saying. And we're going to be hoping to hear from Abigail and Grand Bahama as well this morning. But we'll give you the latest on that. Also, a little bit later in the show, we're going to be going to Egypt to catch up with some of the youth delegates of the COP27 conference. We'll be talking with them about what they've been doing since the youth arm of the climate summit last week and what they are seeing with the main summit, COP27, right now, and what's coming out of that, and to answer some of the questions that people have as to why we are there. We're still asking those questions, some of us apparently, strangely, and we're going to get into more of that with them. Later, you've been hearing about it, I'm sure, about FTX and some strange things have been going on with them and just what's happening. We're going to talk to an expert who's going to give us a breakdown in very simple, we hope, layman's terms as to what's going on here and whether this is another... Not the coffin, but a nail in the foot to the cryptocurrency machine. If they have feet, anyway, you get what I'm saying? Kind of, yeah. Because, I mean, a lot of people, no, you don't get it, but sure. Right, because people have been wondering, like, this is too good to be true, right? Yeah. This can't be, nah. So, is it? We're going to talk about that later. So a lot to get to still on this very busy morning, but let's begin with the latest on Nicole and what else is in the news. And in the news, again, the tropical storm conditions expected to, they're already starting, moving into Abaco and the rest of the northwest Bahamas, extreme northwest Bahamas. And we're expecting a new alert soon on Nicole. But here is the latest alert from the Department of Meteorology. We'll get what NHC, the National Hurricane Center, is saying in a bit as well. And some of you are very, 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 very confused. Nothing has happened yet. Nothing has happened yet. I saw ZNS tweeting. They tweeted from last night, scolding people, I guess, for being out to bars and clubs while tropical storm conditions are being experienced. What now? Are you in the future, ZNS?
In New
I don't know where they are. It can't be Nassau. But they're very confused.
Must be in Abaco.
They must be on a key well off of Abaco, and they were there last night, and they're concerned the Bahamians were out while people were at home. Like all of you, okay. Nicole is 75 miles east of Hopetown. It is making its way toward Abaco now. It ain't start yet. Calm down. This texter, has the all clear been given for Nassau? Are the government offices reopening this morning? No, and no.
Everyone's a bit confused.
Very,
about this
very.
storm.
We haven't seen anything. This is maybe the outer bands. This is a little bit of rain. It's this afternoon. Yeah, but again, New Providence is on the south side of the storm. The bad weather is on the north side.
Yeah.
So we're going to get some very windy conditions.
The big purple dot is very north of us.
Abaco and Grand Bahama are going to be in for a little rough ride today, or maybe quite a rough ride. But we're on the south side, so it's going to be very windy. Do not go boating. Do not get into the water. Don't go out in the street playing around. But it hasn't started yet. Not really. So everyone, please. This other texter, is it safe to drive into work today? I live in Coral Harbor and work in Palmdale.
Well, the coastal road, someone just sent me a picture of the road across from Tropical Gardens, and it is bad. The waves are crashing all in the street.
Yeah, wow.
It's wet.
Yep. I don't know why, this is a text, I don't know why banks are closed. Oh, boy, okay, that's a serious picture. Yeah. Send me that picture, please. I don't know why banks are closed in New Providence. Well, again, conditions are expected to deteriorate today, this morning, and so it could get, right? We didn't need schools open, and you don't want people to get, like Chester showed me this picture, some of the coastal roads are going to be challenging, and you don't want to get people out in dangerous situations, right? So they're asking if it's safe to drive to from Coral Harbor to Palmdale, a 26-mile round trip. Will it be safe for me to drive home at 5 p.m.? Only asking because my employer has instructed me to come in this morning. Oh, boy. Would you mind stating what type of place of employment this is? Because if it's like a clinic or, I mean, I could get, sure, 5 o'clock. I can't say. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be like at 5 o'clock. I probably wouldn't want to be on the street at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, if you're selling shoes, like, no, it doesn't make any sense. But unless it's galoshes, maybe people need to get right. But I mean, yeah, that's a tricky one. But if you don't mind, tell us what type of industry you're in. One of my friends says, tell the folks to go to work. Hey, let's get the latest on Nicole. Okay, so tropical storm conditions are beginning to spread across northwest Bahamas and portions of the east coast of Florida. Right, the outer bands have started, and the weather is picking up. The rain is coming. We're told from our colleagues and friends in Abaco and Grand Bahama, but not consistent, but on and off, which is similar to what we've been seeing in parts of New Providence as well. So the hurricane warning is remains in effect for Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands. The tropical storm warning remains in effect for Eleuthera, New Providence, and Andros. As of 4 o'clock, the center of Tropical Storm Nicole was near 75 miles east of Hopetown, Abaco. That puts it, if you're monitoring this, latitude 26.6 degrees north, longitude 75.74 degrees west. Again, that's about 130 miles east of East End, Grand Bahama, 125 miles northeast of Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera, and 145 miles northeast of New Providence, or 175 miles northeast of Nicholstown, Andros. Nicole's moving toward the west-southwest near 13 miles per hour. A turn toward the west is expected today, followed by a turn toward the northwest on Thursday, and north or northeast on Friday. On the forecast track, the center will approach the northwest Bahamas this morning and move near or over those islands by midday. So Abaco and Grand Bahama this morning. Nicole's expected to move across Florida by tonight. Maximum sustained winds are near 70 miles per hour with higher gusts, so that's very close to hurricane strength and is likely to become a hurricane today. Some strengthening is expected, and Nicole's forecast to become a hurricane near the northwest Bahamas and remain a hurricane when it reaches Florida by tonight. And Nicole is a big storm. It's a large tropical storm, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 460 miles, especially to the north of the center. right? And remember we said New Providence was just 145 miles away, but it is to the south of it. And so this is going to be a big issue for anything north of Abaco and Grand Bahama.
Yep.
But tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 460 miles, especially to the north of the center. Sustained gust of 36 miles per hour and a gust of 51 miles per hour reported on Abaco earlier today. And sustained wind speed of 41 miles per hour recently reported at Dania Pier in southeastern Florida already there. All right. Storm surge could be an issue. It could raise water levels by as much as 4 to 6 feet above normal tide levels, and large swells generated with Nicole will affect the northwest Bahamas for several days, causing life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. Rain might not be much of a factor, but still elevated rainfall levels, 3 to 5 inches, and with localized higher amounts of up to 8 inches across the northwest Bahamas. And waterspouts and tornadoes are possible as well. So, not what Abaco and Grand Bahama needs at all, definitely. And that path looks eerily similar
Yeah,
to
very much so.
Dorian.
It feels like these storms that develop very close to us feel weird, like they feel unpredictable, even though there are predictions. We just, like, people seem confused, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unlike storms that develop way off and we're tracking them for a week before they get here, you know, these kinds of storms just seem like, okay, now what do we do now?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the Cape Verde, the non-Cape Verde type storms are the ones, you don't have as much time. You can have maybe a week to track the ones coming off the coast of Africa.
Not even the time, but even the uncertainty of what the storm is doing when it's so close to you.
Yeah.
It's like, is it going to become a hurricane? Is it not going to be a tropical storm? You know, over the last 2 days, it was like, is it going to do that by Grand Bahama? Is it not? Is it going to do it over Florida? Yeah. And, you know, we're here trying to prepare for what's to come.
Right.
And we don't know what to prepare for.
And I did notice some officials, meteorologists and others say it won't be a hurricane, But, you know, you really can't say these things.
Yeah, you can't.
Don't say it. We don't know. We are hoping it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's always a possibility that it could strengthen.
Right.
It could. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
If it does, it could be on the lower end, possibly. So keep that in mind. Yeah. But yeah.
Like they say, prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah. These declarative statements aren't helpful at all.
Yeah. And then you just don't know what kind of effect you're going to get in your area from the storm.
Yeah.
You get high winds, but they're going to get a lot of flooding from storm surge or rain. You know, so.
Okay. Let's hear what you have to say about it, folks. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hi, are you there? Did we lose you? Call us back, 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us. Text us, 422-4796. All right, this text here. The information around every weather system in this country is abysmal. I remember Fiona. It was the exact same hysterics pre-storm, people in the South rushing to board up and talking about inability to buy plywood. Post-storm, people said, thank God we didn't get it bad. Read people, we were never in danger. We got to be careful with the we. Who's the we now? Because part of the Bahamas is. Right now, do you mean New Providence? Do you mean the southern Bahamas? Who's the we? Because some of the we is we. But anyway, read Bahamas. We were never in danger of getting it bad, ever. Nassau isn't even the cone of uncertainty. It's a Category 1 storm. We will have weather and waves associated with Cat 1. That is true, that part. But it's still uncertain. You have to be prepared. The panic buying that I saw yesterday was a bit extreme in the supermarkets. Stupid me went to get 2 or 3 things, and the people with the trolleys full. I don't know what y'all are doing, but okay. Yeah. The long lines for the gas for gas and water.
Were there?
Oh yes.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
I don't know what. Is that another Mr. Electric car? Yeah, there were, and that is a bit extreme.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
I saw some people tore up the electric fan, the battery-powered fan section in a store.
No, that's just because they have no faith in BPL for any.
So that's understandable.
Nothing to do with anything. That would be like that in March, Christmas. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So give us a better example. Oh boy! The text goes on to say, how many times a year do we get heavy rain, lightning, flooding, rough seas, and 40-mile-per-hour winds as part of normal weather? Nobody panics. Why are we panicking?
We are. Wait a second. They're talking about New Providence, or are we concerned about the Bahamas, which includes the two northern islands that are about to get a lot of wind and rain,
and we still have 3 weeks.
Other things.
3 weeks left in the hurricane
season, right?
But yeah,
anything can happen.
Filling up your trolleys yesterday, I don't know if that was necessary. I mean, yes, the kids are home.
Nassuvians, you mean.
Right. The kids are home, and you might need to feed the little monsters who'll be eating you out of house and home today. Sure, maybe that's what that was.
That could be.
Maybe. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
Dwight, is a saying that do you believe in lightning, just hypothetically not, strikes twice in one place?
Apparently it's happened.
The reason why I said that is because, engage me for a second, my best friend, he's in Chub Key, in Fraser Key, right? And I communicating with him as we speak, right? We were talking about the weather and stuff. And as you know, you can't get no flights to come back, so he got to ride that out. But during the same kind of time, the same storm thing, when the hurricane hit Abaco, one of my friends, in order for them to communicate, they had to communicate with me and someone else, and we had to communicate. Well, during that time, it was a waste of time to even try to communicate with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, more or less Nemo. So we communicated with our family member in Fort Lauderdale, and they communicated with the U.S. Coast Guard. And now here it is again. My best friend, he's in basically the eye of the storm or hurricane, whatever, and I hope it turns back from it. But, I encourage every Bahamian to be careful and be very, when I listened to you this morning, you have to be explaining something that everyone should have take precaution and take some sort of measures and understand. People calling and asking if government buildings texting if government buildings are open. I'm trying to figure out if that person, whoever do that, if they're living in the same place that I am living in. Because the announcement was made from schools to government places. Yesterday, government places were closed 12 o'clock. So you just sitting down there, Dwight, reading to a bunch of
let's not go there. But that's not necessary. But I don't know if that is the issue. The issue was they thought that the storm had passed already, that's disturbing. That's disturbing.
But Dwight, in all honesty, how could you think that the storm has passed? That means you ain't paying attention or what's going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Dwight. You think now I can go sit and watch this. I am not just taking the word of man office here in the Bahamas. I watching the U.S., which I feel that the accurate weather is more accurate for me. Mm. I can't speak for nobody else. So I don't have to listen to the radio till Dwight Strachan comes on early in the morning to tell me don't go to school or the government places are closed. That means, anyway. Yeah,
well,
Dwight.
Some people might not have the access. I don't know, but there's no way that you. Thanks a lot. There's no way you could think the storm has passed already. It is just making its approach. This morning this is D-Day, as they might say. Okay, let's not attack everybody today. Let's not do that. I hope I haven't done that to anybody so far today. But yeah. All right. This one says here. Is this a different texter? Oh, okay. It's the same texter. I mean, everybody in Nassau, they're talking about everybody. This is the we. Everybody. Nassau, Grand Bahama, Echo, nobody mentioned winds above 80 miles per hour ever. Well, not yet, though. It's gaining strength, right? It's very close to hurricane strength, and it could intensify even more. So that's... And again, these are already compromised areas. Yeah. There are people who are just trying to build back, and many have not completed what they needed to do since Dorian. Yep. And they've been complaining about it. That's why they've been asking for SERS, the Special Economic Recovery Zone extension, right? Because the pandemic shut down the show for a lot of them. They're just now getting around to buying the supplies they need to rebuild or fix their roofs or all this stuff. And so this is catching them at a terrible time. Yep. A terrible time. And so many won't be prepared. And a little tropical storm will be a big problem for many people in the northern Bahamas. Anyway, they're saying the data is all there. It's all there. In Florida, they have graphics by town telling people exactly what to expect. I had a relative in Nassau in absolute panic, making plans to break through their roof to escape floodwaters. Haven't we experienced 8 miles per hour winds before? What was our experience? Caution, yes, but the panic level is too high everywhere. Well, some will say they prefer to see a little bit of panic as opposed to just everybody on the beach drinking a Bahama Mama or something. Right.
But where, though? Where are we talking about? Again, I mean, I feel like we're talking to New Providence, but that ain't where the action is.
Texter asking, is the bank open? Nope. The Clearing Banks Association sent out a message yesterday. They are closed today. They are closed today. The banks are closed. The schools are closed. Government offices are closed. The airport is still open, I believe. That was the last statement they issued yesterday, saying that they will remain open today. The latest information from the Bahamas Meteorological Department shows the tropical storm Nicole shifted northward and away from your province, but that was yesterday. As such, LPIA will continue operations on Wednesday, should there be no significant change in the current path of Tropical Storm Nicole. But the public is advised to contact their respective airlines for flight updates. This person says here, Dwight hit the nail on the head. It's the same texter. Okay. Hit the nail on the head there, and they're really unleashing today. People are listening to hurricane horror stories and reacting to hurricane horror stories as opposed to looking at actual data. Okay. The power has been off on Sea-Link Avenue since 1 a.m. Not sure if a transformer blew, but I heard a pop and power went off. The last time this happened was about a month ago, and it took BPL 3 days to restore our power. We need help again. That was sent at 7:27, and at 7:33 they sent saying the power is now on. But it was off from 1 a.m. till 7:30. And this is why people are rushing to buy those fans, right? Chester, because regular day, regular Wednesday, and the adventures of BPL. This texter here says, I don't understand people. If we don't take the storm seriously, they complain. When we do take the storm seriously, they still complain. Geesh. Anyway, my trolley was full because I cooked soup last night and got snacks. LOL. Well, good for you. Sounds like it was wonderful. If you have any more, save some for some people who need some soup. After what I experienced in Grand Bahama, me and my family prepare and shop until the shop closes. It's not the hurricane we're preparing for. It's afterwards.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. Do you have news on which businesses are closing today? Not much. Not much. As we said, the banks are closed. Of course, all government offices are closed. Schools are closed. And I suspect all quasi, as some say, government agencies will be closed. But I don't know of anything else. So if you want to, folks, let us know. You can send us your messages if you're closed, if your business is closed today. I will today say it on the air so people can know. But today, don't expect much to be happening. Don't expect much to be happening, right? I wish the texter who was being ordered to come to work would text us back to tell us what industry they're in. That would be good to know. Did I read this one already? This can't be another one. Are there any notices of schools and government agencies opening as yet?
What?
Come on, man. What's
Opening?
happening here? What is going on? Did you think that little bit of rain last night was Tropical Storm Nicole? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. It ain't reach.
I'm getting videos from Green Turtle Key, and the ocean is
It's picking up there.
taking over the roads.
Mm-hmm. Is school still closed in New Providence? What's going on with the text line? These are texts from 2 days ago or something. Or maybe in the future. Folks, the storm is on its way to Abaco and Grand Bahama. The schools here, we are under a tropical storm warning, so schools are closed. You don't send children to school in a tropical storm warning. Nowhere in the world. That's not what you do. Don't do that.
Maybe they're hoping for.
That would be inhumane. And most of you shouldn't be going to work in a tropical storm or hurricane warning. We're in New Providence under tropical storm warning. If you're essential services, absolutely. If you're selling underwear, I don't understand why. I can't imagine what you're trying to do. But okay. All right. Let's be sensible now. This one said. What? What? I don't understand this. People in this country hear when a man cheated on their wives, they should know school closed. Stop defending stupidity. They know what they want to know.
What?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, they know all the latest gossip, but they're asking stupid questions about. Right. Yes. Well, certainly. Well, your priorities, priorities. Okay. While precautions are necessary, my people in Grand Bahama say this tropical storm is light stuff after getting licked with Dorian, Francis, Jean, Wilma. Yeah, you get the point. Well. Okay.
I hope it treats them
we
that
hope
way.
it is light stuff.
Yeah.
We really hope so. That, as you mentioned, that purple on that map, that didn't look light to me.
No.
But okay, all right, we're keeping our fingers crossed. This announcement from the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation: they are closed until the all clear is given for New Providence, and of course from Grand Bahama and Abaco. The Bahamas Mortgage Corporation is closed until the all clear is given. Easy car sales is closed. Okay. Until the all clear.
Because we are under a tropical storm.
Yeah.
Watch.
Of course, media people will be at work. Yes. That's a given. A couple more messages before we take a break. Please ask. Oh, wait. No, this is different. This is. I don't think this is hurricane related. I don't know if I'm going to read this one on the air. It's just bad service texter. But you should call them. To find out why you're out. This one says here, the government offices and banks are closed, but the fast food places are open. Go figure. Yeah, well, people are at work and people need to eat. So, essential service, right?
There you go.
I don't know. This one says, oh boy. Let's take a break. That might be best. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on a Wednesday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new
This
day.
is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The sun comes up with a burning glow, shines down on...
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And we're going to go live now to the Department of Meteorology where Ian McKenzie is standing by. Ian, good to talk with you again. Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Bahamas.
Okay. So is this our imagination or is this the forecast track for Nicole, what you're expecting? Is that eerily similar to Dorian's path?
Somewhat. Be reminiscent also of Jane that came from the northeast and then swung back to the southwest, took a dip. Yeah, but either way, it's still, the memories still linger on for residents in the extreme northwest Bahamas.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so what are we seeing right now, and what are we going to see over the next few hours?
Okay, well, we expect deteriorating conditions to continue. We have reports out of central Abacos of some storm surge, about 4 feet or so. Persons are reporting localized flooding from the surge. We also have wind gusting up to about 50 miles per hour in the Hopetown area. We haven't seen those winds reaching Grand Bahamas yet, although the wind radii or the whole gamut of the wind field of the storm is pretty large. Thank goodness it extends pretty much mostly to the north of the storm, because the bulk of our islands to the south. Now, if it was extended to the south, then we'd have much more problems, whereby we're more or less concentrated on the northwest Bahamas and extreme northwest Bahamas in particular. So they expect stronger winds or stronger tropical storm force winds begin, say, in the next few hours or to an hour thereabouts, Dwight. So Abaco and Grand Bahama, as well as portions of the Berry Islands and Bimini, would pretty much be under the gun for most of the day. What we're seeing now, New Providence will probably be getting more or less wind gusting, sustained winds around 20 to 30 knots, with some gusts up to possible tropical storm conditions, which would be about 34 knots in isolated cases, probably more in showers or if we have any isolated thunderstorms in the area. So that's what we're pretty much looking at. So we expect storm surge, as we spoke about 2 days ago, Dwight, which normally is the main factor in destruction and death. Hopefully, persons have adhered to evacuation from low-lying areas or flood-prone areas, and they would have resorted to go into more safer grounds or safe haven. Their boats would have been moored, and we don't expect any swimmers in the ocean in the northwest Bahamas or any small craft operators on the ocean.
Okay, so at what point do we expect the worst of this over Abaco and Grand Bahama?
Like I say, well, beginning in the next hour or two, they should start experiencing strong winds, and those winds could gust up to possibly just below hurricane force, because it's not, expected to be a hurricane within the next, by the next alert, possibly. It could be a hurricane.
So by early this afternoon, it could be Hurricane Nicole.
Yeah, quite possibly, sir. Quite possibly.
Yeah. Wow.
Quite possibly. So they would be experiencing downhill conditions.
So what's going to be the biggest factor here? Not rain, but is it wind? Is it sea surge?
Yeah, more wind, and then the water piling up, in particular on the northern coast, and of concern, the western portion of Grand Bahama area, where the storm is expected to just make a beeline through the island from east to west and just move north of West End.
Right.
And within that kind of like cove, that little dip from between Freeport and West End area, that could be quite a problem. So I think they have already advised persons in that area to seek safer ground. But the storm surge definitely is a concern, Dwight. No doubt about that.
Wow.
So we're looking at major wind, with that wind field, storm surge, flooding, of course. I can't even say possible flooding, because flooding has already begun. So that is something to consider, and hopefully we can get through this safely and out of this by, let's say, tonight, early tomorrow morning. It should be making landfall on the southeast coast of the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we would still have some lingering showers. The problem, Dwight, is when most of the times from these storms, we have trailing troughs. And with the troughs, we tend to have isolated severe weather activity.
Right.
So now this is the time, a lot of people, they're anxious to get back to their normal everyday activity. They want to film what the damage, survey. But you have to be very careful when you're moving about. You have down trees, down power lines, and that's the next thing as well. We're going to have a lot of vegetation about the streets and in persons' yards or what have you. Even in New Providence, we're reporting down trees from yesterday and the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine the extent of damage would be magnified in those areas, which would take a more direct hit, more or less, from the storm. That would be the Abacos, Grand Bahama, Bimini, and the Berry Islands.
Right. So it's picking. Is it picking up speed? How is that, and what does that mean if it is doing that?
Well, the good thing about it is you always want to storm out of your area as soon as possible. It's almost like a robbery.
Mm-hmm.
You want the person out. In this case, you want the storm to move as quickly as possible out of your area, whereby you don't have much water piling up for the storm surge per se. And you mentioned the track of Dorian. Dorian sat there for like 36 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you have water piling up and winds sustained and continuous, just pounding. And with the movement of a quick storm, you don't have that. You just pretty much in and out. You have your winds, and it's out of the area. And you try to get back to a state of normalcy as quick as possible. So with that being said, a fast-moving storm is always great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So people ask me what I mean by similar to Dorian. So I'm not talking about exactly from start to end. I mean, just the movement across Abaco and Grand Bahama seems to be very similar. So do we have any idea about possible landfall points on Abaco? And I know you mentioned across Grand Bahama, but on Abaco, the areas that could likely see the landfall, do we know?
Well, see now, Dwight, again, while you may say, well, landfall, where the center of the storm would pass. Now, we don't like to really pinpoint, but in the general vicinity of just north of that would be like Marsh Harbor, the Hopetown area in particular. And then I don't want to really hold any point hard and fast because we just saw that recently with my the storm with my name, Ian. I don't even want to call,
Oh, boy.
With Tampa,
Yeah.
everyone was concentrated on Tampa, and then Fort Myers and those other neighboring cities. And it's similar to what happened with Hurricane Charlie as well. So when you tell people, okay, this is the exact pinpoint, that's why we have a cone. It's called a cone of uncertainty, yes, but then you have a general area because for any given reason or not, the storm could wobble further north or further south.
Yeah,
and then, people hold you to, it said it was going to pass through Marsh Harbor. But in particular, it's only several miles north or south of that particular point in any event.
Yeah.
So you have a reference. It's, pretty much central or northern portion of Abaco at this time, and then the eastern portion of Grand Bahama, pretty much taking a more westward track, slightly north of the capital, slightly north of Freeport, and more or less expected to pass more or less, again, directly across the west end area.
Wow.
So, it's pretty much, it's almost like bisecting the island of Grand Bahama. And Abaco half through Midway, and then, straight through.
Widthwise, yeah.
Yeah, lengthwise across Grand Bahama area.
My goodness. Now, we're still hoping that it's going to stick to the northern side of that cone, right? Because of the bad weather on the north side. Is that right?
Yeah, more or less northeast. Again, this system is still not as impressive as, not to say that you want a storm impressive, but in terms of the convection, in terms of the strength of where the winds would normally be, you still have a very disorganized system, so to speak. It tried to kind of configure itself, become better organized, more concentric throughout the last 12 to 24 hours. However, it's still being impeded from that strengthening, in which, thank God, it is that we have a lot of dry air intrusion coming from the south. That's why normally, like across New Province area, you still see some level of dryness, although we've been getting little spotty showers here and there. But just south of this storm, it's a lot of dry air, the mid to upper levels. It's pretty much filtering in this and inhibiting any type of what we'd call deep convection, with more organization and more moisture that would feed the storm and probably cause it to intensify. So that has been our saving grace thus far.
Yeah, and we've got a few text messages. People concerned that some Nassuvians are overdoing it and panicking a little more than they should. What would you say to both of those sets? People who are like, calm down, Bahamians, and the other side, well, you know, there's Nicole is coming. So what do you say to people in your province especially?
Well, Dwight, you have to be very careful because each person's experience is going to be different, and how they react to a situation is going to be different. I could advise you as best as possible to always remain calm, adhere to advice given by the Bahamas Department of Meteorology in terms of your hurricane preparation, because like we made a joke that Bahamians always find money for 2 times of the year, when a hurricane is traveling or storm and when it's Christmas, you know, and so you don't want to overspend per se. That's my thing, but you never can really prepare too much, especially in terms of food. And if you need to mobilize yourself, you would know your area pretty much better than most if you need to leave your home or secure your surroundings or what have you. So while some may be saying you're overreacting, the storm is not passed as yet. So if your storm decides to dip to the south, further south or what have you, then the persons would be saying, see, I tell you all, you know, you don't know, or get ready, you know, kind of thing. So I could understand where people are coming from. And then some people still could be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's a lot of things, Dwight, that we don't discuss as far as storms are concerned in our country. Because there's a stigma attached to mental trauma, so to speak.
Yeah.
And people do suffer mental trauma
Definitely.
during these systems.
Yeah. Well, Ian McKenzie, thank you so much. Great information, and keep up the great work that all of you are doing in the Department of Meteorology. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us this morning.
No problem, man. Take care and be safe, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Thank you again. All right, folks. So there you have it. Abaco and Grand Bahama. This is the time. It's coming up for them, and we're going to try to make contact with folks in Abaco and Grand Bahama shortly. But we're going to break for news and be back with a whole lot more Morning Blend on this Wednesday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
The sun comes up with a burning glow, shines down on paradise below. I'm talking about the Bahamas, you know, a beautiful archipelago. Now go.
To be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for
RBC
MultiPay.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the Belt Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
If you're into great tasting chips, you know Frito-Lay has got you covered with your favorite flavors like Original Lay's, Doritos, Cheetos, Funyuns, and much, much more. Well, not only can you enjoy your favorite chips at a great price, but you can also enter the Frito-Lay Scooter Giveaway and win one of 5 Yamaha Kryptonite scooters. Check your favorite grocery stores for details or go to iwbahamas.com. The Frito-Lay Scooter Giveaway ends December 16th and is brought to you by Island Wholesale. Don't miss out.
Are you an attorney with a joint practice operating from one location? Accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 35600 to sign up for
RBC
MultiPay.
Okay, class, let's begin today's history lesson. Ancient civilization used to visit stadiums to watch musicians perform. It was called a live concert.
Teacher, what year was that?
Researchers believe it was around 2019. Normal life feels like a long time ago. As things return to normal, remember it is essential to be fully immunized against all vaccine-preventable diseases like COVID-19, rubella, polio, hepatitis, mumps, and influenza. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Canada, and the United States of America.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, BTC.
Did you get the speed bump? All BTC subscribers with a bundled fiber connection receive the speed increase, totally free and totally automatic. It's just another way of ensuring that we are delivering best value to our customers, keeping leading edge of everything awesome. Link up with BTC to get your speed bump today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com to learn more.
With all the fiber you need, link up.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
We're good for you. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Atlantic Agents and Brokers. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John.
It's Mordecai.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969, Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:27, we've got another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. Tropical storm Nicole. This is the very latest from the Met Office. Nicole moving toward Great Abaco Island in the northwest Bahamas right now. And tropical storm conditions are spreading across the northwest Bahamas. Seas remain treacherous in the northwestern islands. The hurricane warning in effect for Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands. And the tropical storm warning remains in effect for Eleuthera, Providence, and Andros. As of 7 o'clock this morning, the center of Tropical Storm Nicole, located in latitude 26.6 degrees north and longitude 75.2 degrees west. That puts it only 55 miles east of Hopetown, Abaco. 55 miles. That's about 105 miles east of East End, Grand Bahama, 95 miles north of Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera, and 120 Providence, 150 miles northeast of Nicholstown, Andros. Nicole is moving toward the west-northwest near 13 miles per hour. A turn toward the west is expected today, followed by a turn toward the northwest on Thursday and north or northeast on Friday. On the forecast track, the center of Nicole will approach the northwest Bahamas this morning, move near or over those islands by midday, and approach the east coast of Florida by tonight. Maximum sustained winds are near 70 miles per hour with higher gusts, and some strengthening is expected today. Nicole's forecast to become a hurricane near the northwest Bahamas and remain a hurricane when it reaches the east coast of Florida tonight. Nicole is a large tropical storm. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 460 miles, especially to the north of the center. At 7 a.m., Settlement Point in Grand Bahama reported winds gusting to 46 miles per hour, while Hopetown reported winds gusting to 50 miles per hour, just much as 4 to 6 feet above normal tide, beginning to impact the coastal shores of Abaco in the northwest Bahamas. And large swells generated by Nicole will affect the northwestern islands for the next several days. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. Nicole is expected to produce rainfall amounts of 3 to 5 inches, with localized higher amounts up to 8 inches across the northwestern islands through Friday. The formation of waterspouts and tornadoes quite likely during the passage of the storm, and boaters are advised to remain in port. Residents in Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands should anticipate hurricane conditions today, especially after midday, and interest in the central Bahamas should continue to monitor the progress as well. So that's the very latest alert from the Department of Meteorology. With your weather for today, we're expecting hazardous boating and beaching conditions to continue to affect the islands and continue through Thursday as the system continues to move over in the northwest, but not advised due to very rough seas and dangerous rip currents. Boaters should remain in port across the whole country, the northwest, central, and southeast Bahamas. For the northwest islands today, look for winds north to north, northwest to north, and shifting west to northwest at 30 to 40 knots and increasing to hurricane force strength across the extreme northwestern islands of Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands. And north to north, northwest to north, then shifting to southwest to west this afternoon at 25 to 30 knots with gusts to tropical storm force across New Providence, Andros, and Eleuthera. Seas 10 to 15 feet, but up to 20 feet along Atlantic-exposed shorelines. For the southeast Bahamas and central Bahamas, southwest to west at 20 to 25 knots in the central islands, 15 to 20 knots in the southeast Bahamas, with higher gusts in all areas. Sea 6 to 9 feet in the central islands, but 4 to 7 feet in the southeast Bahamas. Temperatures today getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 71 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. In the next few days, as the center moves away from the Bahamas, outer rain bands from the storm will continue to produce showers and thunderstorms along with breezy conditions and hazardous boating and beaching conditions. So for tomorrow, Thursday, partly cloudy and windy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Friday, variably cloudy and a bit breezy with a few isolated showers and possible thunderstorms, mainly over the northwest Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check. Weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com.
Get a merry makeover this Christmas from Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan to win a home renovation. This Christmas, unwrap the celebration. $2,000 for your home, new lamp, new decor, new couch that's
Win a $3,000 home goods gift card when you apply for a Scotia. We're giving you the gift of a low interest rate and up to 2 months with no payments. Plan the perfect Christmas with your Scotia Plan loan. Use it for any purpose, plus benefit from flexible payment terms. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan now to enter to win a merry home makeover.
Got a look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. As expected, folks, there's no traffic, not much traffic to speak of, but here's the issue. It's along the coastal roads here in New Providence. We're seeing congestion because of what we're getting, the reports of overtopping waves. The surf is very rough, and it's causing some very dangerous conditions on West Bay Street especially, and that is from Saunders Beach all the way west to as far as Orange Hill. So we're seeing that conditions very dangerous, and so it's causing some delays in that area for folks traveling along the coastal road. So keep that in mind. You might not want to be on West Bay Street at all today. So try some of the interior roads if you must travel about this morning. But we're getting reports of flooding, and we're seeing the videos of overtopping waves. So again, near Saunders Beach, there's some major delays there. And near Sandy Port, near the caves, and more. So keep that in mind. Avoid West Bay Street. The coastal roads are seeing major issues this morning. That's your real-time traffic and morning blend traffic alert. Brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic.
Are you an attorney with a joint practice operating from one location? Accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for RBC MultiPay.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
This magic moment, so different and so new, but like any other, until I kissed you, and then it happened. It took me by surprise, by the look in your eyes, sweeter than wine, softer than the summer night. Everything I
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you on this. Dwight Strachan and Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. Just want to say this one more time, folks. We're getting serious reports of major issues on West Bay Street, especially near Saunders Beach. The waves and water, the flooding. It is not a place. It's not somewhere you want to be as a commuter. do not drive on West Bay Street. They're having lots of delays. There's a lot of traffic there because it's flooded and some dangerous conditions, we're being told. So avoid West Bay Street near Saunders Beach, near Goodman's Bay, near Delaport, near the caves, the whole stretch. So they're saying the flooding is way past. Getting text messages from people, flooding way past. Orange Hill, it's narrow to traffic. It is all of West Bay Street. You can see this.
Even on a slightly rough day, they have water over there.
Yeah, and our traffic maps are showing that very clearly. You definitely want to avoid it. We're getting the reports from folks as well. Saunders Beach might be the worst of it, but it's all along West Bay Street. Avoid the coastal roads. So keep that in mind today. If you don't need to go anywhere, today is not the day for the sightseeing. Especially things are going to get worse the closer that Nicole gets, and that we're only a few hours away from landfall in Abaco, and conditions will deteriorate here as well. So keep that in mind. So while this is happening,
what were those whale fin groins at Saunders Beach supposed to do again? Stop erosion, right? Okay. It's weird. It's that beach seems it should be very protected, but it usually has, during a storm, it usually has terrible surge.
Yeah.
And sand gets into the road there.
Well, while all this is happening, we've got thousands of people in the impact of climate change, and many Bahamians over there as well. And we're very pleased to once again go live to Egypt, where we have 3 students who are taking part in COP27, and the climate change conference is going on there. We are very happy to have them with us this morning. And joining us from Admiral Ferguson Senior High School in Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, we have McHala Knowles. Hope we got your name right.
McHala Smith.
Oh, Smith. Okay, so we got that wrong. McHala Smith. Welcome, McHala. We have from Mayaguana Comprehensive School in Pirateswell, Mayaguana, Kajah Knowles. Is that how you pronounce it? Kajah. Okay, we're going to get everything wrong this morning. Kajah Knowles, good morning. And from Aquinas College, Dellon, or is it Dellon Evans?
Dellon.
See, this is quite a day. Anyway, good morning, McHala, Kajah, and Dellon. Great to have you all with us this morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so tell us about the experience over there in Egypt so far, what you all have been doing, and then we'll get to what you're hoping to.
The experience so far, good morning, this is McHala speaking. It's very amazing. So far, we've been attending conferences to negotiate with others and tell them the dangers of climate change and how it's impacting our country. Yesterday, we had an NDC partnership.
What is that? Tell us what that is.
Yeah.
Basically, it's Dellon here speaking. Basically, what an NDC partnership is when, for basis, an NDC is a nationally determined contribution that a government gives to the UNFCCC to tell them about their pledges and their ways in which they can help combat and fight against climate change. So this partnership gave light to certain things that we as a country would like to give, but also have other countries help us with in regards to climate change and the fight against it.
So while you're there, people here, some people, not everybody, but some people are wondering why we are even taking part in this, why we've sent such a big delegation. What are we hoping to do? We can't do anything. And that's on one end. And then the other end is we've got people who are climate change deniers, who are thinking that we are overreacting, and that someone actually texted us last week, God will keep us all safe. What do you say to the people who are wondering why we are, in their words, wasting our time with this?
Well, for starters, for those that are asking why we're here, really and truly, there is a clock, and we're coming to a very rapid point in this time constraint issue. So with climate change, many countries, they're producing a lot of carbon. It is impacting us majorly, as we can see now with the hurricanes developing in the middle, well, coming down near to the end of our hurricane seasons. So seasons are longer, and the issues that we face are right here in front of us. So we're here to say, hey, you can't continue on with this, because although the Bahamas is a small island developing nation, and we are going to be impacted more heavily by these carbon emissions, at the end of the day, everyone is going to be impacted. And if we don't start to do something soon, the world will become uninhabitable. So it's not a matter of, well, you're there doing nothing and just talking, but it's a matter of how do we save our future.
Mm-hmm. We got this text. Oh, okay, go on. Mm-hmm. Is that?
For the Bahamian people denying, this is Kajah. Okay. I would like to say a lot of Bahamian people really don't know what climate change is. So they have to get the understanding of what climate change is. And it's very evident. It's very evident because you can go outside and it's hotter than it used to be. Summer seasons are longer, warmer. So you could see the coastal lines are getting smaller, and the water, when it rains, it comes into the road. Like, as you said, that the water is in the road and you can't drive through West Bay Street. Mm-hmm. That's effect of climate change. Now, with the denying part, I know Bahamians, we are a Christian nation, but we as Christians believe in God. And we still have, God gives us the ability to choose right from wrong. And you have that ability within yourself. So if you decide you're going to do something bad, God is not going to stop you, because you have the ability to know right from wrong. So people are doing wrong things and the effects are happening. So if you're a good person, you would go and you would try and convince someone from stop doing what they did. For example, if I see someone doing something bad, right, I would try and convince them to stop, because it comes with consequences. That's just exactly like climate change. And most Bahamians just don't know, and they feel the need to always voice their opinions on things, and they do not know what they're talking about. So the denying part, most of them don't even know what climate change is, and they don't know exactly what it is.
And to expand on what Kajah was saying, as a Christian nation, we believe in God. And for those Christians that are saying, well, it's nothing happening, at the end of the day, I can't change someone that doesn't want to change. But what I can say is this. God said faith without works is dead. The Bible says it, not me. It's written right there in black and white. So if we are perpetuating the situation and making it worse, we have to work together to ensure that it's better, because our faith won't keep us alone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. So you talked about it, and lots of people not understanding climate change. What else can we do to get the messages across that this is different? This isn't just a fluke. Don't mind that there are occasionally blizzards, and something is different. How do we get the message across?
Okay. I think there should be a platform that just speaks directly about climate change. And I think it's also with the media too. They don't just explain what climate change. Oh, well, the Bahamas took this big delegation to Egypt, when they should have explained why we went to Egypt and what is the issue. Why do we have to travel? Because this is not a vacation. So for Bahamians, I think that we need more platforms that really explain, because Bahamians know there's a change. They could feel it. There's a change. There's the marine life is changing, less fish, the seasons are longer. So you could feel what's happening, but they just don't understand what it is. And if you could explain to them what it is, then they'll understand. You have to meet people where they're at. So you can't just go telling people something and they don't understand. So I think it's more of a platform where everybody can understand.
Mm-hmm. And also, I believe that we should implement climate literacy or environmental literacy in our schools, so we can inform Bahamians, young Bahamians, about it at an early age, so that they can get on board and help in the fight.
Mm-hmm. Is that happening? Your fellow students, what are they saying? Who wants to start us off with that?
I'll start. This is Kajah again. Mm-hmm. My fellow students are aware of climate change, but I don't think they really take it serious, because when people come to talk about climate change, they really don't pay in mind that these are children. So you're going in front of kids and you're speaking you're using big words and they can't understand. So I would understand, but not everybody is at the same level. That's why I like to say you have to meet people where they at. You can't just talk at a person. You have to speak to a person. You have to get to them, because if I'm in a room, and Bahamians have a lot of pride, they tend not to say when they don't understand. So if I don't a Bahamian, even personally, I could say if I don't understand, I would rather keep my mouth closed than to ask for help. And that's a bad thing. And I think most Bahamians need to start asking for help, because if you don't know, if you just sit there and listen, you would never know. And if you never know, then the problem will never be solved. So understanding, you have to meet them where they're at, because not all Bahamians are at that level where you could speak at a certain point and they understand. Because they'll be in a room sitting down pretending like they understand, and they don't understand a word you're saying. So I really think is who you let speak to a certain selection of people, because I could say college level should have their own. High school students should have their own special person that could speak to them, because not all people know what these certain words mean. So you could speak to a person, and some people don't even know the meaning of climate change. So you can't really speak to everyone and say, oh, well, climate change is happening. You first need to break down the basics and say, okay, this is climate change. This is the effect of climate change. And this is what's going to happen in a certain amount of time.
I hear you. I'd recommend primary school for most people level, but that's just me. But okay, so what we've been hearing coming out of the past few days from COP27, a real focus on fossil fuels and the oil companies, and them being held responsible for at least some of what we've been seeing. Let's get your reaction to that, your view on that, and a lot of people are going to be. They don't want to get rid of their big trucks and their big gas-guzzling vehicles, and they're a little uncomfortable with putting all the blame on fossil fuels. 'Cause, I mean, that means they have to take some responsibility too, right, for filling up every day with these things. But let's get your reaction to that. Is that fair to put it all on the oil companies?
Well, at the end of the day, I'm not going to say you should put everything on the oil companies. But once again, it is hard to change. So when you're used to doing your normal daily routine where you go to a gas station and get your diesel and you make your truck sing like the fat lady at the opera, it's not going to be easy for you to make that shift. But there is technology being made to help shift us away from that sad reality, because with using fossil fuels, we are emitting far more carbon into our atmosphere than needed that the atmosphere can sustain. So although you may not want to get rid of your trucks, if we continue on, the trucks will be gone no matter what you do.
And to add on to that, I will say you cannot blame the oil companies completely, because if you are used to a certain way of life, and the Christmas season is coming up, so you can't just say, oh, I want all the oil companies shut down. How will they get their coal to stay warm in this northern part of the world? Because I could say it's really cold over here. So if they need it, that's why they have to prioritize themselves and their people first. So obviously they're not going to shut it down because things are happening in the Bahamas, but they need to be aware that they need to slow down a little bit and take a different route and think about other ways they could go about it, because they are really doing it to help them people. I wouldn't say they're selfish, because they're doing it to help their people. It's there for them to stay warm and for them to be. So it isn't really all on them. It's just human nature, a method of survival. So they just need to switch and innovate new ways, get the new technology to switch over and be more conservative with the energy.
Adding on to Kajah's, this is McHala speaking.
Hi, McHala.
No, it isn't fair to throw the blame all on oil and those other things. There are other factors and other that contribute to what's happening now. And like Kajah said, we should implement new ways, and not even if we don't want to stop using something or doing something, we can find different ways and different techniques to use it to try and slow down or possibly stop what's going on now on climate change.
Yeah. Okay, so what can we do as regular Bahamians, not the politicians, not the world leaders, regular people, regular folks right here? What can we do to change amongst us right here in the country, in our families?
I mean, a small change will make a big difference. So you could start with, them 20-minute showers. You could buff them down to 10. Wasting food, you could cook how much you can eat instead of wasting. With the water, use as much water as you need. I feel as though we need a platform for all Bahamians, not just a certain group of Bahamians. And like I keep saying, and I keep pressing this issue, when you speak about certain things, you have to meet people where they're at. Not everybody is going to understand you. So you can't just go into a crowd and say, okay, I'll change their mind. So first you have to get them to understand there's an issue, because they know what's going on, but you have to get them to understand the basics. And if they don't understand the basics, they can't help. And that's why a lot of Bahamians are denying climate change, because they really don't understand. So the simple things, you could go, they need a platform. First of all, it'll be good if, ZNS get a little section on just climate change, just to help you know what climate change is and what the Bahamas government is doing about climate change. I think that's what you really need to do.
Okay, Kajah, what about McHala, Dellon?
I think we should start carpooling more to prevent, to prevent the use of more vehicles on the road, because that contributes a lot. Recycle more instead of deforesting and cutting down trees. We can plant more. We can also reduce the use of energy, and stuff like light bulbs, etc. and light.
For me, I feel like as Bahamians, we can really reduce our impact on the environment and the climate by simply focusing on necessity, because we've become so accustomed to a life where we overdo it. So instead of, as stated previously, taking longer showers, do what you need to get your backside clean. And as harsh as it may sound, that's the reality. And also, instead of leaving your AC running all day long, or you're leaving your TV on all day long, you can turn those off. And these are small changes in which we can help the environment. Because although it may seem small, minuscule, or like you can't help with the issue, it is many small changes make a great difference. So that's how I feel about the situation.
Okay, I'm curious, how old are you all? McHala from Crooked Island, how old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
Wow, what grade are you in?
11th grade.
Okay. And Kajah from Mayaguana, how old are you? What grade are you in?
I'm 16 years old and I'm in the 12th grade.
Okay. And Dellon, you're here from Nassau at Aquinas. What grade are you in? How old are you?
I'm 15 years old and I'm in the 10th grade.
Okay. All right. Great stuff. What's the experience like in Egypt? Are you seeing things that they're doing over there that you think we should look at, or we should adopt? Are they doing some things? Are they practicing what the folks at COP27 are calling for all of us to preach and do as well?
An observation my team and I made last week, I believe, we noticed that the way they build their buildings, it uses natural light. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
The buildings are white.
Yeah,
it uses more and have more ventilation. And it uses the direct sunlight.
Personally, this is Kajah. I realized at the hotel, I made this observation the first day. You cannot turn on the AC without your key card, so you can't leave it running all day. So, for instance, when you walk in the room, you have this little thing on the wall where you put the key card in, and then you'll be able to turn on the AC. Without that, the AC will not stay on.
Yep.
And the lights.
Yep.
And also, many vehicles are electric or hybrid models. So they're also cutting on their carbon emissions here.
Yeah.
as well.
Excellent stuff. All right, so what's next? Tell us about what's next for you all over there, and what is everybody hoping to come out of COP27 when this is all done? Who wants to begin?
But really, may you repeat that, please?
Yeah, what happens next? What's next on the itinerary for everybody over there in Egypt, and what is everybody hoping to achieve once COP27 is done?
For me, personally, I've observed that the goal really is to expose people, because most people, when you say you come from the Bahamas, they're trying to wonder where the Bahamas is. And really, only people from the United States or England or around in that type of area knows where the Bahamas is. If you ask any Egyptian around or any person that is from mostly the northern world, you would see that they really do not know where the Bahamas is. If you say Bahamas, they'll think America or some other thing. So I think it's really about, this year is really about exposure for us, because we were trying to get people to understand our problems and our issues, because not just only Nassau, but staying at the capital, but every island has its own issue. So we're trying to expose people to actually say, okay, well, this is not just happening to me, and it's happening other places. And that I realized that being in Egypt, that most of the big countries think that climate change is a project for the future when it's is now. So it's really about what you say and how you say it and how you get to the people.
Also, another thing that we are trying to get is compensations for loss and damage, because although compensation won't combat the issue, it will eject us in the correct direction. So with loss and damage, we're able to rebuild, we're able to rebound, and we're also able to innovate and do better things within our country.
Yeah. All right. This message, again, we got this last week, and here we are again. This person says, trust God, not the scientists. What do you...
I feel as God put the scientists here and God put the knowledge in the scientists. I really do not like when Bahamians say things like that, because they don't understand. And I feel like only a person who don't know what's happening would say something like that, because if you look around, you would see the adverse effects of climate change. And it's really agitating and annoying when people keep saying, watch God. God gave us the ability to do what we want to do. He's not going to stop you from doing what you want to do, and what you're doing is wrong. So I think people need to understand what's going on. Bahamians just like to talk.
Yeah, they certainly do. They certainly do. Wow. Kajah, any specific issues environmentally in Mayaguana that you're concerned about?
Food and safety, because how far the capital is from our island, we depend on subsistence farming or the boat. So if the boat doesn't come or the plane doesn't come and they miss a trip, we'll be really scarce on food. And like a couple weeks ago, I have an example. I couldn't find water anywhere. You go to the shop, there's no water. You go to the local shops, no water. The water in the wells is really not drinkable. So there was really no water other than the tap water. So it was different.
Wow. That's very disturbing. What about you, McHala, in Crooked Island? Any specific issues? McHala?
Other than the increase in heat and whatever, it's basically the same thing as what's happening on Mayaguana. Basically.
Oh boy, that's very disturbing. Yeah. Very disturbing. And Dellon, just any issues in general that you are really concerned about here in your province, and anything you see going on?
Well, truly, I believe we don't take enough time or consideration, or actually put enough time into the consideration of our natural spaces. So we're cutting down trees, we're burning a lot of fuel, gas. We're not trying to implement the necessary measures to ensure the health of our nation. So with that, I believe it's time to make the change. We have to shift in the right direction to ensure the survival and betterment of our people.
Yeah. Absolutely. When are you all back home? How much longer are you over there for?
We're over here until Saturday.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. It's a great connection. Sounds like you all
Yeah.
right here in the Bahamas. But keep up the great work. Thank you for representing the Bahamas so wonderfully. Many people are very impressed with all three of you. And they're saying the future looks bright with people like you up and coming. And thank you so much for this enlightening conversation this morning. McHala Smith from Admiral Ferguson Senior High School in Crooked Island. Kajah Knowles from Mayaguana Comprehensive Parallel in Mayaguana, and Dellon Evans from Aquinas College. Thank you for joining us from Egypt. Thank you very much, and keep up the great work. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so very much for having us, and it truly was a pleasure.
All right. Folks, we're going to take a break. Thank you. We're going to take a break and be back with Morning Blend Business and more on Tropical Storm Nicole, the very latest. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Clean your fingernails. Stay on the
Just link up with this beautiful young lady, and she say she in love with me. She say even my internet making sense. When she come over, she say my signal strong, my movies ain't glitching, and when she use her computer, everything was smooth. The only problem is, I let her meet me by my boy house that day, and he got that BTC fiber internet speed bump.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
This is Guardian P6.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Piggy Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 squeeze, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin. A medium waffle fries and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect that of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. In a few minutes, we'll have more on hurricane, soon to be, likely soon to be, but right now, Tropical Storm Nicole and what's happening. We're expecting landfall in the northwest Bahamas around Abaco around midday today, as it is just a few miles off the coast of Abaco at this hour, and conditions are deteriorating in Abaco and likely Grand Bahama. And already here in New Providence, as we've been telling you, coastal roads like West Bay Street, avoid coming in. Terrible conditions out there. The waves are topping over. Cars are getting toppled with waves, and it is a dangerous situation out there. Do not go on West Bay Street at all, at any point along West Bay Street.
It's pretty bad right now.
The whole stretch of it, a disaster right now in New Providence. Okay. But this morning, for Morning Blend Business, we are going to be talking about FTX. You've heard likely about this is making international headlines. It's of course, it's a huge company, the second largest cryptocurrency company in the world. I don't know.
One of the
right
largest.
terms.
They
It's
might not be in second place.
Maybe not now. But definitely some unusual things have happened this week, and to guide us through it as sensibly and calmly and layman-ish as possible, we have an analyst. He watches these things very closely, and no stranger to Guardian Radio at all, but C. Alan Johnson joins us this morning. C. Alan, good morning. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, and good morning to the wider Bahamas.
All right. So, just so people understand, why you pay attention to this stuff, why you know so much about this, tell folks about it.
I am a digital addict, having began get involved with technology from about the age of 14 years old. That takes you back to the pre-80s. And being involved with technology 46 years, having worked at IBM during its early years of the development of what you now call it, or used to call it, desktop computers. It's an addictive type environment. I look at global trend. Many people call me a futurist. I actually try to look in the application protocols of the various different things, technology, future technology, current technology, application to various industries, etc. So I spend probably 12 to 16 hours a day in the front of my computer dealing with reading, updating, and science journals and debates and all those other different things. Technology. I became really interested in the blockchain technology as it was revealed in the early 2009 paper, because I'm a individual that support access to freedom of information and open type dialogue. So I was looking at the application of that more so in industry and finance, etc. More, not as much as being adopted in the cryptocurrency space. For the record, I'm not a cryptocurrency. Listen to the word cryptocurrency advocate. I am a crypto advocate, not a cryptocurrency advocate. I do believe that cryptocurrency is called the greater fool theory.
Okay, so let's explain that to people and why there is a difference, how there is a difference. Explain that crypto and cryptocurrency. Tell us.
Crypto is basically a method of securing information versus cryptocurrency, which is a supposed to be a secured form of currency, which then has been adopted as a replacement for fiat. What has happened is that these words have become blended as cryptocurrencies took hold and tokenization took hold. The words have become blended. But there's always been a crypto market even before cryptocurrencies existed, because this crypto goes back to the ancient age of Egypt and wars and where you had the Indians. Remember the Indians breaking codes and all those other different things. All of that is part of crypto. So it's basically secured information as opposed to, or you call concealed or secret information. Depends on how your application. Cryptocurrency then said that you have a digital secured currency, hence the word cryptocurrency.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about this, what's been happening. Some people not surprised by this, but for those who don't follow any of this, I guess explain to us what type of company FTX is and then what has happened over the past few days, and then we'll get to where we're going.
Let's first say that Binance that bought FTX was the very first investor in FTX. That's for the record. They were the ones that literally the parent. FTX is literally a child of Binance. I'm going to come back to what happens in regards to Binance and FTX. FTX, Binance, and the other various currency exchange. Just think of the SEC, the New York Stock Exchange, the Penny Exchange, our BISEC. People buy and trade interest in various different stocks or in dollars, etc. FTX is nothing more than an exchange. It ventured into cryptocurrency. Let me come back to that. But for the sake of it, Binance and FTX in its purest sense is nothing more than an exchange that handle transactions between two or more individuals and for a fee. The way FTX came about, even though there were some exchanges in place, Sam Bankman saw an opportunity where you were buying, say, cryptocurrencies in the U.S. for, let's use an imaginary figure, 10,000. But at that very moment, somewhere in China, they were selling it for 8,000 because the blockchain for which Bitcoin runs on is so sluggish and takes long to process transaction. He saw an opportunity to create a shell around these two stock exchanges where you want to buy for 10,000, he'll buy in China for 8,000 and then facilitate in the time thing and instantly. So he made a lot of the differences. And so there's a lot of variations of various stock exchanges that has its own type environment. Keep in mind, though, that FTX only came into existence around 2019, exploiting that balance of demand and fulfilling the demand across various different jurisdictions. Because at the time, around 2019, a lot of the regulators around the world, including central banks, etc., began to look at this cryptocurrency industry as you almost say a form of threat to the stability of the environment. Their concern was that cryptocurrency which came into in the argumentative position of being anonymous and as a replacement fee for fiat, then became dependent upon fiat for its value. And so what it meant was now you could bypass exchanges and illicit affairs and various different crimes by simply converting your currency, whatever country you're in, into a cryptocurrency, and then have no control across borders and sharing information and tracking it. We have a lot of lessons to learn, but cryptocurrency is no longer anonymous as it was intended, because you could vary dozen whales in the Bitcoin industry, and because you have exchanges which now keep records. In the peer-to-peer, where you and I we don't need an exchange. If you have a digital wallet and I have a digital wallet and we trust each other, we could transfer information between each other. But this exchange came into place to act as a security, because I don't know you, you don't know me, and so they became like an exchange to say we'll handle the exchange to make sure you get your product and you get your money and whatever else. And so that's how the exchange became. The explosion of exchange came about. But because of that, you could now track and trace retroactively on these various different exchanges where these wallets are. You can't do anything about a wallet, but you could blacklist, meaning if I was to, say, steal $1 million, coming across an exchange, that wallet could be blacklisted. And the only way I'll end up getting something out of that wallet is if I'm dealing with somebody who has no way of verifying that my wallet is blacklisted. The exchange then became powerful in that respect, because they say, look, there's a bunch of stolen billions, if not trillions of dollars of digital currencies out there. We'll be as your guardian of the exchange. Keeping in mind, though, that 99% of all cryptocurrency in the world are scams. Okay?
Okay. All right. Wow. So now FTX certainly became very, very big, and CEO Sam Bankman-Fried became a larger-than-life figure over the past few years. Definitely getting a lot of attention. Of course, the name has appeared everywhere, and we know they made that high-profile move of their headquarters to here in the Bahamas. And that got a lot of attention. So the company just seemed to be growing fast and just flourishing so incredibly quickly. But
what has happened over the past week? What happens if you go back, you would see that I don't want to use the word con man, because it's coins. I guess coins men were having two fights. This has been going on for weeks. This is why I don't understand why our BISEX did not have any comment on this. These two individuals, the CEO of each of these companies, were having back and forth across Twitter concerning whatever personal argument they were having.
All right, so let's go back a little bit. Explain, because I don't think you've mentioned that as yet. The other company, Binance, right?
Binance.
Mm-hmm.
Binance was one of the original people in the marketplace with the exchange. In fact, I think Binance is the largest exchange in the world.
Right.
You have to be careful about these exchanges claiming the largest.
Mm-hmm.
Some will say I'm the largest by volume, I'm the largest by this, I'm the largest by that. The Binance, I think, is the largest by value. They get so mixed up now, but they're the largest by value.
Yeah.
I think it has a value of about $300 billion. In fact, the CEO, Chang Zhou, whatever this name is,
CZ, as he goes by.
Right? Yeah, he, before the first crypto collapse early this year, he had a value of about $95 billion. He's worth about $30 billion. Sam had a value of around 30 or 40 billion. He dropped down to about $15 billion, which is now less than $1 billion because of this. Now, what happens is that when they created this company, a lot of people don't understand is that FTX began minting its own coin called FTT. Mm-hmm. And essentially, if you understand the cryptocurrency industry, okay, let's pretend, Dwight, that you're starting a cryptocurrency exchange. I'm starting one, and
Chester.
You're in the studio.
Chester.
Chester's starting one. So here's what we do. We have these coins that we're dealing in Bitcoin, but we need to put value to our company. So I will mint a coin, and then I would say, Chester, here's $2 billion worth of my coins. Give me a promissory note. Then, Dwight, I'll give you another $1 billion worth of my coins. Give me a promissory note. Then I'll tell you, Dwight, to mint a coin, and I'll give you a promissory note for your coin. And then, Chester, you'll mint one and have a promissory note. you notice that no money is exchanged, right? But now you have the hype of these coins that we have to say, we now on our exchange, we say, hey, look, you see what these coins are selling for? People are buying it, $2 billion worth of transaction has happened, whatever. And then there comes the individuals suffering from FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out, begin to buy these coins.
Right.
And so what it does to it also elevates your exchange as the go-to place to basically handle this exchange. Well, this FTT coin, which was owned by Alameda Research, which was bought by Alameda Research or given to them by FTX, technically had no reasons. And so it's almost like a movement of paper around shell companies that kept this shady value, which was then the backbone of FTX and these other Alameda and other exchanges, which they did not have real money. The real money, even though you had billions of dollars of value in these exchanges, the real money was the people who came in with their hundreds and thousands of dollars thinking that they were going to become billionaires and billionaires also. Mm-hmm. And so it's almost like keeping this, it's a juggling act, keeping this floating in the air. So Binance and FTX, the CEO of the two companies having this thing where Binance decided about 2 years ago to say he's going to liquidate all of his currency, FTT currencies, which would then, of course, a panic run on Alameda and FTX. Alameda stepped in.
Binance had bought the tokens as well. So
no, they had gotten the tokens as part of their. They bought it. Technically, it's no real cash exchange. It's like I give you a promissory note, and it goes on your books. But there's some people out there, like now there's millions of banana plants or shoot suckers that comes in and say they now buy them back from them and they're holding them for them.
Do you think that was always the plan? Like we're gonna?
No, it wasn't. No, they would have went on. Listen to me. Sam Beckman said in an interview early this year that cryptocurrency was a Ponzi scheme. He said so. Okay, he didn't deny it. He said, well, essentially it's a Ponzi scheme, and all Ponzi scheme eventually comes to an end if you can't find any greater fools. You're running out of fools. Even though one is born every day, you need more than one to enter the market. And so essentially what happens is Alameda came in and says they'll buy all of Binance FTT coins, FTX coins, it was FT bloodshed. But what it did was it entered, they call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's you plan these to drive a coin up and down. And so first you come in with fear of missing out, then you feel fear, uncertainty, and doubt concerning the value of a coin. That entered the marketplace, and people began to do withdrawal from FTX, start taking their cash out, start cashing in their cash out. And they had a 93% run, literally $6 billion or so, I think, was moved in one day, more than any long period in their exchange, which then put a demand on currency, what they call liquidity issues on FTX. And the problem is that Alameda and other companies that hold FTX currencies basically then had no value because FTX was where they anticipated to get the cash to support these coins. And so the things came crumbling down. So essentially, the CEO of Binance was teaching his student a lesson. And that's why you see Sam Bankman tweeted that his first investor told the people, relax, don't panic. The first investor was through. My first investor.
He said it's come full circle.
Yeah. Let me read a piece of this that's in the Nassau Guardian Today business section. Our Paige McCartney writing about this. So again, the FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried announcing that a liquidity crisis led to the sale of the world's second largest crypto exchange. At the close of yesterday, FTT, the token native to the FTX exchange, declined by 80%. From $22 before the acquisition to below $5, wiping out over $2 billion in value. Asked for comment yesterday, FTX Vice President of Communications and Corporate Social Responsibility, Valdez Russell, shared Bankman-Fried's comments on social media. This is what he said on social media. He said, quote, things have come full circle, and FTX's first and last investors are the same. We have come to an agreement on a strategic transaction with Binance for FTX, pending DD, etc. Our teams are working on clearing out the withdrawal backlog as is. This will clear out liquidity crunches. All assets will be covered one-to-one. This is one of the main reasons we've asked Binance to come in. It may take a bit to settle, etc. We apologize for that. A huge thank you to CZ, as you mentioned earlier, Binance, and all of our supporters. This is a user-centric development that benefits the entire industry. CZ has done and will continue to do an incredible job of building out the global crypto ecosystem, and creating a freer economic world. It's unclear what impact the acquisition will have on FTX's Bahamas operations. On the $60 million headquarters back in April, which included 2 hotel towers, offices, and an athletics center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you write that off. See, Binance is a truly digital company. Even though they were incorporated in the Cayman Islands, and they may have some locations around the world, they have no central location for their headquarters. They are literally in space. And so they need to have these offices like the way FTX want to have a location and set up. They need just a place to come under jurisdiction control. The reason why they set up these locations and FTX in the Bahamas was not about the Bahamas. It was about being in a jurisdiction for which they could service other jurisdiction that had no regulation and not be within the U.S. This is why you'll see that even in the acquisition of Binance, of acquiring FTX, the 5% of the business that they did in the U.S. is not affected by this because they were basically a whole different regulatory regime.
Right.
So all of the FTX locations around the world. So if Australia had a slightly variation regime, they'd just set up an office there to handle the transaction that meets that variations and then funnel it into FTX.com, the larger company. So the Bahamas just basically, for me, I say they saw the naivety of the legislation and the leadership within the country in regards to what this industry was. The very fact that we shifted and went from stating that that we were, that we were a digital assets environment, that we actually bought into the message. We bought into the message that we were a cryptocurrency destination, where digital assets in the space of tech, in the realm of technology, digital documents, videos, images, graphics, logos, slides, presentations, spreadsheet files, websites, all of these different things. And that would, when we first came with the DARE bill, digital assets, I thought we were moving towards digitizing or becoming the digital data economy. But instead, we somehow allowed influence of political influence and otherwise to move us into this environment for the benefit of the few. Just with all due respect, just follow the money in the Bahamas, and you'll see the less than 10 people who benefited from FTX being here. Because the show has not been.
That's the big picture, right? With the whole FTX situation, and it's something that you mentioned just now. You said Binance is not about brick and mortar. And what we were selling to the Bahamian people was FTX's brick and mortar. Again, we're talking about construction jobs, construction money.
Right.
And now that might all be out the window.
Right. But if you look at FTX plan for building their headquarters here, they were building a hotel for which they was going to keep their offices in.
Right.
And then when they evolved over to the Bahamas, that office was going to become a convention center.
Right.
So it was never about building an office because their total revenue for paying for that building was coming from the hotel rooms.
Right.
And so it's just that, our politicians like to sell 5-year dreams as opposed to national development plans. And so,
But I guess what I was asking and what I'm saying is the base for being a crypto, is the line blurred now? Were we a crypto jurisdiction that was gonna be successful because cryptocurrency companies would come here and spend a lot of money on real estate and building things? But where's the money coming from a completely digital company?
There's none. What it is, it requires to have a digital economy. When we say digitized economy, it's about human capital development.
Right.
Digital transformation is about a culture. So you have expertise and skill sets within certain industries for which they are docile here, running their businesses and other things here. So that's where the currency inflow, their salaries, and it goes to the GDP.
Right.
These companies, in fact, about 70% of the companies around the world that exist in the digital space has no location now. We often confuse the Googles and other places. Those places have locations because they have servers. And so we never went far enough in our digital laws to encourage those servers to be put here in the Bahamas. We have the opportunity, in fact, we're the only country in the world that can give constitutional data protection, data privacy, etc. But we have not explored that environment yet because, believe it or not, it's a scary thought for politicians because it requires freedom of information, anti-corruption laws, and all of these different things to be put in place.
Mhm.
All of the things we've been arguing for decades, for us to flip this economy and actually go into recovery requires those things to go into place. So if you don't see freedom of information laws, real freedom of information laws, if you don't see real transparency laws, if you don't see real integrity laws, all those things, forget the Bahamian economy building in any digital sphere. Because those companies, there is an environment for being docile here, in spite of what people think of hurricanes and other places, just like how you have Singapore and other places. But it isn't where the company comes here. It is where we have to have a human capital regime development that allows us to tap into them being docile here. But it isn't, oh, we'll build a building, they'll be here for 50 years and we have nothing else to do with it.
Right.
And so this whole concept of saying we're going to do digital this and digital whatever, it's hard for us even to make an educated concept of cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency yesterday is not the same today. We're learning that.
Right.
So we're ignoring the fact that what you have, and you have other emerging technologies all around data protection. Because remember, blockchain is about data integrity and protection, not about cryptocurrencies.
Right.
And so we are like, we are stepping over dollar bills to pick up shiny objects like quarters and dimes.
Wow. We're talking with C. Alan Johnson on Morning Blend Business. If you have any questions, give us a call. 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. We're talking about what happened with FTX this week. All right, so do we know what does this mean for the company? I mean, are they finished? They come back? They're dead. That's it. All these
It's called Binance now. It might be called Binance now.
At the FTX arena in South Florida, that's what, no more?
Unless they got all cash up front, they most likely gonna be looking for a new new logo or someone to assume what FTX had there on their billing.
From what you're seeing, right? And I have my own thoughts on this because when you read about what happened between Binance and FTX, CZ basically wanted to kill the company, and he did.
Yes.
And
well, that's what I'm saying. Did he intentionally buy all of the
FTT
for this exact moment to take it to
Well, it's a safety measure for his company.
Yes, these are called poison pill purchases. All of these companies have poison pill in their competitors.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so these are things. So when you understand, you have to understand that Bitcoin and these cryptocurrencies came from the dark web, a place that I lived. Okay. This is what we did, illicit transfers and hacking, and I paid for hacking and all these other different things with. This was then pulled out from the dark web and legitimized by fools.
Fools?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who's willing their fiat for a coin that represents fiat. Okay?
Right.
It simply say, if you hold this, your dollar won't go up in value. But if you buy this like I'm saying, I come to you and say, that paper dollar is not going to go up in value. I have this wooden coin. It's the same as your dollar. If you hold this wooden coin, when the demand for wood goes up, you'll have two of these dollars. Start, give me your dollar. So you run around holding this wooden coin, screaming about how valuable this wooden coin is, and I'm out spending your dollar.
Yeah, that's exactly. You described it very aptly just now.
Wow. So what lessons should the Bahamas learn from this? I'm sure there are going to be other traveling salesmen trying to pitch why the Bahamas needs to get on board and welcome us and all that stuff. What lessons are there to be learned from this?
The lessons to learn right now is to pivot to a subsection of tokenization. Tokenization of real world assets, don't buy it. It's just like a little narrow window, not these NFTs where you buy these fancy scratches on pieces of paper. I'm talking about real world back assets for real estate, for even investments. Blockchain is going to replace financial, what do you call it, the financial services industry. Blockchain is going to replace lawyers using DAO, smart contracts. Because what happens is before, let's say, for instance, I'm buying real estate. I go and I buy real estate. The person goes to, let's say the three of us buy a real estate together and we own $3 million real estate. Each of us own $1 million. Now, Dwight, you want to sell to me. I now must go back to a lawyer and pay these fees and all these investigations. Had we tokenized that piece of property and you have a digital wallet, your ownership, I have a digital wallet owner and a smart contract that's unmodifiable managing that. All you have to do now is transfer your shares, your coins that represent your shares into my wallet, and I transfer from my bank account your $1 million, and now I own 2/3 own 2/3 of it on the contract. Notice that the real estate agent is gone, the lawyer is gone, all these fees are gone. This is where tokenization and blockchain is going, not the shiny objects around it. And so what we have to do now as a country is look at how we can set regulations, probably beating the US and other jurisdictions, on how real world assets is managed. But again, it requires a radical shift in our practices of secrecy. Again, if you look at our Constitution guarantees constitutional privacy, but we have been selling ourselves in the financial service industry as a secrecy jurisdiction for years, ignoring the power of constitutional privacy. Let me tell you quickly how constitutional privacy is superior to general legislative privacy. If you want access to information I have, you have to go beyond because the law could be changed the next day and they could give access. But literally speaking, by utilizing from a constitutional standpoint my data, they would have to have a constitutional referendum to give access to my data. That's a powerful, we're not good on referendums. That's a powerful tool for data protection regime in the Bahamas. And so when you have constitutional privacy versus regular legislative privacy, constitutional data protection versus regular data protection. So what it does, it creates an environment where literally data around the world, we talk about Estonia. If you have a proper data regime, you could have 1 billion new citizens, digital citizens in the Bahamas in a matter of time. Because what it would do, Dwight, is say all your information, whether it be your medical information, your DNA, all that information, if you become a digital citizen, you become subject to the laws of the Bahamas. Any company in the world that has data on you must domicile it in the Bahamas and have access, and also give you shared access. So when Facebook and Google and them make money off your data, they'd have to give you a percentage, just like ASCAP and BMI. That's where we should be going to, because we're the only country in the world that can do it. And so then you will have to have people like Facebook and Google and have to have servers and other things in the Bahamas if we mandate that to be so. To say any information you keep on our citizens must be domiciled in the Bahamas and then sandboxed to make sure it's protected, et cetera, et cetera. And so you can imagine the amount of people, just consider you got 1 billion people every year paying $5 a year, or you're taking a percentage like ASCAP and BMI of their revenue from their data that's being exploited for the trillions of dollars per year. We could make a few $1 billion a year just managing data while these people carry the expense of maintaining the data within the country. We have to build the future. Just an example, Dwight, everything you're hearing from right now, hearing from me, it's about 10 seconds old. So that means that nothing we experience, remember even the sight you see, that's the past. When you see that car passing you, that's the past. When you look into space, you're looking at the past. So what we have to do is build into the future so that when people reach the point where we are, then they'll experience the past too.
Yeah.
But we'll already build that.
Wow.
And so,
all right. So, we know FTX isn't saying anything, but do you have any idea, any theory on what will likely happen to their what they have here, what they were building? What do you think is going to happen?
Forget the physical buildings. They're dead. They're dead. However, we have an opportunity for the likes of Binance, if we could actually think this through and invite them to preemptively make the Bahamas their jurisdiction based on what these other major economies are trying to do in relations to setting up their regulations. Let's study what the US and China and Singapore, all of them are doing, and preemptively create an environment that we could adjust in real time where they would come here. Because technically, fools will be, Barnum Bailey said it, fools will be born every day, so there's always going to be people around for a minute. FTX value is becoming what Binance is doing to them. FTX value moved to buy these other companies to short them up, who had a lot of the FTT on their token, on their thing. what FTX value came from, some hidden value in FTX. This is why they're saying they're going to do due diligence before they acquire it, is in these databases that they acquired when they bought these other companies. Of all the people who was invested in those companies, the exchange data and all this information, the analytics. That's where the value is. And so in essence, Binance is basically saying, we know the FTT coin and others have no value. We will look at what the value is of all these acquisitions and all of these exchange data that you have, assess a value of current and future value, and see how much we can make whole of the investors on that platform. I can tell you, CZ is not going to do 100% on it. He is in cryptocurrency, so rootless.
Wow.
Well, I think maybe what Dwight was also looking into the future, if this whole Binance thing goes through, Binance ain't gonna be building nothing on that property.
No, they won't.
No.
At most they'll have is a server. You could get them to build. You could get them to build a server here in the Bahamas, so the data that they're trying to manage, or what FTX was trying to do virtually, they could actually make them do physically, which would create the environment. The biggest threat to that, wherever they have these servers around the world, the worst they're paying for electricity is 5 cents a kilowatt total.
Oh boy.
We had 50. So we had 50.
Yeah.
We had $50, but we then have to take the advice of the United Nations, who laughed at us when we said we're going to be 30% by 30, because they were saying, come on, Germany is creating gigawatts of electricity using less sun than you guys, and you're only going to reach 30%.
Yeah.
The problem is it requires a massive restructuring of the economy. Technically, it's surrendering the economy to the citizens of the Bahamas as to the select group of people in the Bahamas, because what happens is we are a carbon-based economy. This is a bit of hypocrisy in what we're doing, because we depend on carbon to run this economy. So we could flip this economy in a matter of 8 to 18 months, but you have to surrender the economy to the Bahamian people. So there's some environment. If you say, for instance, you want in Grand Bahama, we need these 10,000 rooms. You could actually tokenize the Grand Bahama economy and literally put about 1,500 to 2,000 people as ownership in the hospitality industry by virtue of advancing their money on the hospitality aspect of people coming to the Bahamas, which could be guaranteed that if you come, we will have a location for you. That's the only thing you're doing.
All right, we got some calls. I'm running out of time, but let's take these calls really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Okay, let's take the other one there. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend Business.
Early days is dark, you know, voice. We need justice, law, and order in the Bahamas. What I want to ask, C. Allen, now, Bill Gates just bought the internet, right?
What now?
No.
What?
Bill Gates.
Bought the what?
He can't buy the internet. Go ahead.
I didn't hear C. Allen. What he said?
We don't know what you're talking about. What does that mean?
No one can buy the internet. Go ahead.
Well, what did he buy?
He didn't buy anything. What Bill Gates did was make an attempt to create this, to rush in this
I cannot hear you properly.
Okay, that's not true. What's your question, though?
He explaining it to me now. Let me hear him, please. I cannot hear him.
Okay, ask your questions and hang up so you can listen, and I'll answer them.
I want to know, okay, what Bill Gates bought pertaining to the internet and stuff like that.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. The internet can't be owned by anything. It's a compilation of computers around the world that is managed by a small group of people, I think 7 or whatever. They almost come together in one place if say something attack goes on the internet. What Bill Gates has done is Bill Gates is trying to drive in the direction, this concept called the metaverse, that may be a few years ahead of its time, because the world hasn't moved to the metaverse yet. It's moving to source information. Bill Gates, the Facebook failure was that it kept into the family and friends sharing information with family and friends, as opposed to becoming a platform for which information is sought out, exchanged, etc., searched for, and everything.
More important question, C. Allen. What part of the internet would you go to find out to even think that would be the thing that happened, that Bill Gates would buy the internet? Because I'm
you can't. No, you can't find it on the internet. You have to talk to a friend.
Oh, because I don't see those websites. I don't get where you.
No. That's an off-internet dialogue.
Obviously. Okay, let's take Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, and thanks for taking my call.
Hi.
C. Allen.
Yes.
I'm still able to siphon off on my Metaphor platform, Bitcoin and all the other coins. just a little bit at a time. Are you saying that it's going to come a time when that's going to stop? That's the first question. And then the other one is, we have about 10,000 millionaires in China who want to get out, and they want to find some place to put their money. Do you have any ideas? I'll hang up on this.
Okay. The Bahamas is always a good place to put money if you create a regulatory regime for them to do it. That's another long discussion. But let me explain you something. The first time in history of Bitcoin, the cost for the hash became more than the value of Bitcoin. And so essentially, when Bitcoin was at 18,500, it cost 19,500 to mine one, because as more consolidation happened, the hash rates are becoming more by one individuals. Now you're having a collapse of these mining farms. But the biggest problem that Bitcoin faces, which it was against, was the fact that all of the hash power will end up at the 51% will end up in the hand of one. Now, Bitcoin is facing the same issues which Bitcoin was created for over a decade ago. It was created to prevent financial self-dealing, human hubris, and untransparent markets. And Bitcoin has become the very things that it said it was to prevent.
All right. Okay, we were out of time, but I want to ask you about this. So this with FTX, Twitter is on the lots happening with Twitter, and now we're hearing about Meta with Facebook cutting thousands of jobs. Is there something going on? Is it just the way of business?
Yes.
Or what should we make of this?
COVID. You remember we talked about doing your whole COVID shows. The world is shifting digitally. In case you noticed that the WTO died during COVID for the world, the way trade is done around the world is digitizing, okay, entirely, where you had a holdouts. And so now the supply chain is for digitizing gives you an advantage. So as the world digitizes, the demographics of how we do things changes. This is what Facebook tried to capitalize on, because the analog world is merging with the physical world for how information is transferred in real time. And he just thought that we would transition on also for our social aspect, which is the digital world. The world itself is becoming digitized, and nationalism for a form of world trade is beginning to take place, and blocks are being formed. But no matter how these blocks are formed, digitization will be a huge part of it. Digitalization is countries' ability to use the digitized information. And digital transformation is the cultural indoctrination of your human capital resources to be able to exploit spaces in this. Innovation is finding new uses for old things, or new things being created altogether. And we must learn these terms and actually have a conversation, because the Bahamas, based on its geolocation for literally 1/3 or larger of the world, as a gateway, the Bahamas is poised to literally dominate, to be Singapore, Estonia, all of those combined, if we can actually stop pretending, get out of the cave, and see the fullness of the sun, and make decision as to where we want to go. We need to do this for the children, for the future, even for the ones unborn.
Yeah. See, Alan Johnson, thank you so much for giving us some insight into what's going on here. I confused as ever, but I think I understand a little bit more. But I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll talk again soon. We're going to take a break.
Okay, but thank you so much. Just remember that cryptocurrency ain't real. However, crypto and blockchain is.
Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot. We're going to take a break and be back with to wrap things up. This is Morning Ben Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-772-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves are smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your Morning Blend Business Report, brought to you by CFAL. The threat of Hurricane Nicole is just another setback in Grand Bahama's continued economic recovery, according to the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce President James Carey. Nicole is making its way towards the northwest Bahamas and aiming for landfall around midday in Abaco. According to Carey, the fear right now is that the projected 5-foot surge could do more damage to already vulnerable areas. He says that Grand Bahama's economy was already fragile before Category 5 Hurricane Dorian devastated the eastern portion of the island. Months later, the COVID-19 pandemic forced the closure of businesses, leaving many furloughed. Those that survived building. Read more on what he's saying in today's Guardian Business section. Carey's also calling the government calling the announcement that the sale has fallen through the Grand Lucayne Resort of Grand Bahama to Electra America Hospitality more than a setback, but rather a failure. 6 months after it was announced that the sale would take place, Lucayne Renewal Holdings Limited revealing that it ended negotiations with the company and has begun talks with a new, well-capitalized entity Kerry saying that the business community of Atlanta was far from surprised about the announcement, but definitely disappointed. Again, you can read more on his comments in today's business section. And only one cruise ship has been diverted from the port of Nassau due to Tropical Storm Nicole, according to the department head of the Ministry of Tourism's Travel Compliance Unit, Trevor Moss. Moss says they've been in constant contact with the officers and staff members in Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands, Andros, and Grand Bahama, and they've given details about the number of guests that are in those hotels on those islands and in the marinas. Overseas, parent company Facebook, Meta, is laying off 11,000 people, about 13% of its workforce, as it contends with faltering revenue and broader tech industry woes. CEO Mark Zuckerberg saying this in a letter to employees today. The job cuts come just a week after widespread layoffs at Twitter. Under its new owner, billionaire Elon Musk, there have been numerous job cuts at other tech companies that hired rapidly during the pandemic as well. Zuckerberg says that he made the decision to hire aggressively, anticipating rapid growth even after the pandemic ended. He said, quote, "Unfortunately, this did not play out the way I expected. Not only has online commerce returned to prior trends, but the macroeconomic downturn, increased competition, and ads signal loss have caused our revenue to be much lower than I'd expected. I got this wrong, and I take responsibility for that." Meta, and its advertisers, are bracing for a potential recession. There's also a challenge of Apple's privacy tools, which make it more difficult for social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Snap to track people without their consent and target ads for them. New Market Watch recapping trading on the BISX from Tuesday. New market movers: Commonwealth Bank moving 31,019 cents to 330. Focall moving 500 unchanged to 398. J.S. Johnson moving 15,000 shares up 5 cents, closing at 15.55. Consolidated Water unchanged to 376. Emira Incorporated unchanged at $9.04. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,600.66, down 24.79. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. That is it for us today, folks. Stay tuned to the Guardian News Network for the very latest on Nicole. Again, expected to make landfall within a couple of hours on Abaco as it moves across the northwest Bahamas. Abaco and Grand Bahama squarely in its sights, and we are praying for Abaco and Grand Bahama. It is still a tropical storm, but likely to become a hurricane today. And so heavy winds and sea surge expected. And we're seeing issues in New Providence as well. Again, the coastal roads here, especially West Bay Street, major flooding on West Bay Street. Dangerous. Folks, do not go out there.
Waves are hitting cars.
We're seeing far too many videos, so many of you are out there, and a lot of you are off today, so we don't know what you're doing. This is not going to be cool. Stop. Think sensibly. Whatever.